Since New Year's is right around the corner, I thought it would be a great idea to put out a video on how you can be intrinsically motivated. This is because, New Year's resolutions, and you're probably going to stick to it for at least a week. And I'm hoping that this video will help you to stick to your resolutions longer or whenever you're setting a goal. And the key to this is being intrinsically motivated rather than externally motivated. Because externally motivated means that you're motivated by like what you're going to be, like, oh, I'm going to be a bodybuilder and everybody's going to think I'm strong. And those are good things to strive for, but the key is to love the process and just love doing the activity for what it is. And that's what being intrinsically motivated is all about. And so this is very important during the pandemic because there is no audience to look at you. Maybe online, but it's really hard to be motivated by other people when there's nobody around except your family. So I think this video can help you. This is all the stuff that I've been doing during Corona to accomplish my goals and my bucket list here. This is just what I did, and it's not meant to be a quick fix. I hope it's useful to you. The first of the 3 different parts of this process is before you start the activity. The things that are involved in this are making sure you set a long-term goal, making sure you set a couple of short-term goals, almost like a benchmark to make sure you are staying on track, and also making a pros and cons list, which is very helpful. So the first is this long-term goal. And it may seem a little obvious that you need to make a goal before you start working on it. But you'd be surprised at how many people just start working on something and don't realize why. If you're trying to work out and they're just like, I work out. Well, it's good to have a set of reps or the amount of sets you're going to want to be able to accomplish by the end. Because that way you actually know when you've met your goal, which is the whole key. And so the second part is making those short-term goals. And that's because you may have a long-term goal, but you'll get deterred if you make it too big. And it's fine to make a big goal, but you need to make sure you have short-term goals that are able to lead up to that long-term goal. Say your goal is you want to hit 50 pull-ups in one set. And maybe your short-term goal is that every week you try to hit 2 more than you did previously. And that's how you stay on track. So that short-term goal is the big way to know if you're really hitting your goal. And that way you can see if you need to up your amount of work or if you're on par or if maybe you're even doing better than you thought. And then finally, we have the pros and cons list. The pros and cons list is so that you don't get surprised or really down on yourself later in the process. So let me give you an example. Say you're working out at your house like I've been doing for the last maybe 6 months. I've learned that since I have sports to do in the afternoon after school, I have to work before school. So this is definitely a huge con because I have to wake up a half an hour earlier than I normally would just to make sure I can get in a couple sets before I eat breakfast and go to school. This is a huge con, but the pro is that I don't have to be tired after running or cross-country skiing and then trying to go work out and being really sore. I also am able to have a nice bright early start to my day, which whenever I'm tired in the morning, that's just what I think about then. It works really well. Once you've got some of that planning stuff done, we got to move on to putting in those hours because practice makes perfect. It's always hard to get started, especially in the morning. The best way to get started is called the do something principle. What I thought before I heard of this is that you get an inspiration to do something, right? You're like, this is pretty cool. I have to try this sometime. You get motivation, and then you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to start working on it. And then action, you actually start doing what you were planning on doing. But the cool thing about the do something principle is that this is not a line, it's a circle. Because if you take action, it'll give you inspiration and motivation to do a different action, or to do more of the action. So when I'm doing my AP US history notes, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll just do the first subtext or the first header, and I'll just write down that. That'll be like, 20 words of notes, and then I can do something else. But once you get to that point, once you've taken a little bit of action, you're like, hey, this isn't so hard, and you can just keep going until you finished. And the other way of doing this is by doing a completely different action, because it's not like taking a small action of one thing leads to just that one thing. My favorite example would be when I have to do my homework and I really don't want to. What I'll do is I'll throw my laundry in the washer, and then I'll say, okay, you have to work until your laundry's done. So I'll work for 50 minutes or 45 minutes, and then my timer will go off or the wash will go off, and I'll go down there and bring all my clothes up or throw them in the dryer. And this is helpful because it gives me a time to like, okay, I could take a break and fold my clothes, or I can do some more homework and then come back after I'm done, depending on how taxing all my work is. And it's good because even the act of just throwing my clothes in the laundry helps me get to work on my homework. The third and final group is just trying to pick up a couple of different tips about how you can make it more fun for yourself and easier to work through the activity on a daily basis. The first is rewards. Rewards could be a lot of things. Music, food, going somewhere with your friends, playing video games. All of this stuff could be rewards. It just depends on how you use it. My favorite is music because whether I'm doing homework and listening to lo-fi music while I do it, or whether I'm working out or running and then I'm listening to rock or rap music, it helps me get in the mood, and it makes it way more fun. And so these are things I use. You could also use food. Every once in a while I'll have some dessert after I finish my homework. But obviously you wouldn't use food if your task is losing weight. But it kind of works the same way. Like if you were trying to be outside a lot, maybe you would treat yourself to video games, but I don't think you would play video games for 5 hours after you've been outside for 30 minutes. So you kind of have to weigh it yourself and see, in what quantities and in what quality you're going to do the activity. Then the second principle is accountability. Accountability would be making sure that there's ways that either other people or you, it's very clear if you're doing it or if you're not. Of course, you can't lie to yourself, but you can try and you can lie to other people, but that's kind of not the point. The point is that when you get other people involved, even if they're not even paying attention, even if you say, I told my friends, I said, hey, I'm going to make this video by New Year's, and that at least gives me saying, I put it out there that I have to finish this, so I have to finish it. That's just how it works. And you can do that like I did where nobody's actually helping you. Or, of course, that's why we play on teams, even if it's a solo sport, where it helps to have somebody there who's making you go faster, going mush, 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 or making sure that you work on a group project. Maybe you do better work on group projects. But these are all ways that other people and yourself can keep you accountable. Another way is technology. There's an app I use called Microsoft To Do. This app, it's literally just a checklist. But what I do is I have it repeat every day so I can have daily tasks. And then if I don't complete it, I'm like, oh no, I have to complete it from yesterday. The only reason I really use it is because whenever I complete a task, it has this really nice ding. It's like perfect dopamine hit. This accountability, it comes back to your short-term goal, right? So if your short-term goal is that you're gonna make sure, for me, working out, I take a benchmark every single Saturday. So I do as many push-ups as I can without stopping and as many pull-ups as I can without stopping after a little break. And so that way I can see how much I improve. Right now it's 2 pull-ups every time and maybe 5 push-ups every time. And that way I can see myself increasing. And like this week, my push-ups weren't quite as much. They were only by 2 more than last week. And so I need to really put in the work this week to make sure my push-up count goes back up to where it should be climbing. And so that accountability paired with the short-term goals really helps you to hit your long-term goals. Well, that's the end of the video. Special thanks to Better Ideas. For more motivation content, go check out his channel. And Mark Manson, who's the creator of the Do Something Principle. I hope you learned something that you didn't already know before, which is learning. And I really hope that if there's more videos that I end up putting out like this, go watch them. Thank you.
Count us off. Gotta go 1, 2, 3, and.
No,
Alright, ready? Yeah.
Just count it down, ready?
3, 2, 1.